Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be back here with you all. Do me a favor as you join, if you can go ahead and you can share this stream. We want to make sure that we get this video, we want to make sure that we get this information out to as many people as possible. This is about to be an exciting conversation tonight. I'm so excited. If you don't know, my name is Chanel McCord. I'm going ahead and I'm making sure that I share this stream. All right, looks like I shared it to my timeline. I see a couple of people jumping in. When you jump in, just go ahead. Let me know that you are here. Give us a wave. I see Emily, you're with us. I see Ms. Derisha with us. But I am so excited tonight, everyone. I'm so excited because this is, if you didn't know, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. But it's also a Queen's birthday month, as I've been saying all month long. And so I am so excited that I decided how I wanted to end Mental Health Awareness Month with a bang, with some very, very, very special people that are near and dear and close to my heart, that are going to be coming on with me, my sisters in Christ, some beautiful Black women, some beautiful entrepreneurs, women who are strong in their own right. And if I can just say, doing the dag-on thing, y'all, they are doing the dag-on thing in their own right. And I just thought that it would be great to have them join me tonight, and we're just going to have a conversation. So the secret to this is that I'm having a conversation with my sisters, and I'm just letting y'all in on the conversation. This is not even about y'all tonight, right? This is about me and my sisters having a conversation, and I'm just about to let y'all in on what it is that we are discussing and how we are leveling up our life. And so I'm so excited. I see a bunch of people hopping on with me. Make sure you go ahead and hit that share button. Make sure you go ahead and share this stream. And so I'm about to bring on some beautiful, amazing women, and they are going to introduce themselves to you all. Make sure you let us know that you're here. We can see you. Make sure you drop those comments. And so the first beautiful woman I have coming on is Miss NaKeara Bond. She is the hairstylist for the nation. She be slaying hair to the gods. I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself. And then I have Miss Cherise Styles. She is your confidence coach. She is helping women and girls to get their confidence up. And then last but not least, I have none other than the Brittnee N Smith of Brittnee Smith Creative Co. She's also going to come and introduce herself, and she's doing amazing things in helping women to to brand themselves. But ladies, this conversation tonight is about you. So once again, before I bring them on, make sure that you go ahead, share the stream. We want to make sure that we get this conversation out. Y'all see my hair not acting right? Y'all see that little hair? See, this is why I need NaKeara, so she can help me with those things like that. But so I'm going to bring my sisters on. There goes Miss NaKeara. We got Miss Cherise, and we got Miss Brittnee N Smith, my beautiful sisters who are here. I am so excited. I want to thank you ladies for joining me and being with me as we teach women today on how to get their whole life. Not just get their life, but to get their whole life. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that I made clear about today, because I was thinking about, and I had somebody actually ask me, what does this have to do with mental health awareness? Well, the truth of the matter is we are not one-dimensional beings. We are not just our mind. We're not just our body. We are not just our heart. We are multi-dimensional. Sam Hessa actually has this will. It's called the Will of Wellness that I use oftentimes in my practice with my clients. And the Will of Wellness identifies different areas of wellness that if a person, I keep saying a woman because we're talking to the ladies tonight, but if a person is able to get their life in these areas, that they are able to get their whole life. And so I'm so excited. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to have you ladies introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us your name. Tell us what your business organization is. Tell us what your passions are. Tell us what your specialties are. Let the people know who you are tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Miss NaKeara Bond. Introduce yourself to the people, child.
Hello. Thank you so much, Chanel, for having us tonight. I'm so excited. My name is NaKeara Bond. I am a licensed cosmetologist for 16 years. I am a salon owner and a beauty consultant and a beauty coach. And what I'm passionate about is helping women identify her individualized beauty. And I want to teach her how to own it and truly walking in that fullness of her beauty. So that's what I specialize in. I do that through hair styling, through makeup, and just encouraging the women that I encounter to walk into their full beauty fullness.
Awesome. Awesome. She said, walk into your beauty fullness, y'all. Listen, can I tell y'all how NaKeara helped me? Because I'm not going to even show y'all some pictures of how I used to look, but she helped me to actually be a grown up, right? I know for me, one of my journeys was learning how to be a grown up and feeling like a grown up, right? That transition from teenagehood to adulthood, it's like a weird transition, and you got to get in where you fit in. And so having a beauty consultant, having a stylist there for you to help you has been amazing. So thank you, NaKeara. I'm excited to further this conversation with you.
Yes.
Next up, Miss Brittnee N. Smith, introduce yourself to the people.
Ooh, it's me. Hey guys, I am, as Chanel said, Brittnee N. Smith of Brittnee Smith Creative Company, and also the creator of DIY Design Tools, which you'll hear about later. And I am a graphic design and creative brand strategist, and I help entrepreneurs and content creators ditch fear and take flight in their brand, in their business, so that they can reach the right people on purpose. So I help you get your ideas together. I help you get the vision of what it's supposed to look like. And then I help you come up with a plan to execute it so that you don't stay broke for the rest of your life. So that's what I do. And I'm happy to be here.
That part, so that you don't stay broke for the rest of your lives. Yeah. Any ladies watching the stream, do y'all know that you don't have to stay broke for the rest of your lives? Sure. Listen. We'll get into that conversation a little bit later. I'm sure we can dig in that. But during these trying times, it should already show you that we can't depend on that good government job no more, y'all. Like, come on. Anything can happen at any time. And so being women, being powerhouses, we have to stand up. And there's actually statistics that I look at. Women are becoming more and more entrepreneurs and actually are taking over the game as far as starting small businesses. And so I'm so excited to have the likes of a Brittnee N. Smith on the line with us today, who can talk to us and is going to tell us a little bit more about how do we do that authentically. Awesome. And last but certainly not least, I have Miss Cherie Styles. Introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everyone. I am Cherie Styles. I'm the CEO and founder of Wear Your Confidence, which is an organization that is dedicated to building the confidence and self-esteem of girls and teens. And I recently launched my modeling school called Wear Your Confidence University for the everyday girl, the average girl who wants to just succeed in life as well as on the runway.
Awesome. So she has yet to allow me to walk in one of her fashion shows, but I'm hoping that after today's conversation, if y'all want Cherie to allow me to walk in a fashion show, drop it in the comments right now. Let her know that all of this fierceness can walk in a fashion show, because I'm ready for the next one. Okay. And I also want to make sure, see, that's right, let me walk. I want to make sure that I also introduce myself to you as well. I kind of got started, but I am Chanel McCord. I am the CEO and founder of Oasis Counseling Center and Oasis Wellness Group, your favorite therapist, here to help you to take your mind and your emotions to another level. And so I'm so excited of all that this conversation has to offer today. This is a powerhouse group, y'all. Make sure that you are tuned in. Make sure you don't miss any part of this conversation. I'm gonna say it one more time to make sure it happens. Make sure you share this stream. Tag a lady, tag a friend, tag somebody's wife, tag somebody's grandmother, tag a pastor, and tell them to jump on in and join this conversation, because we are about to help you to get your whole life, ladies. And so what I want to do today, sisters, first of all, thank you again for joining me. I'm excited for the first of many conversations that we're going to be bringing to be able to help people, help women to elevate their lives. And so one of the ways that we structured this conversation today is that it's a 4-part. We're going to introduce and we're going to tackle 4 areas of every woman's life. So I'm going to be coming from a perspective of mental and emotional health. NaKeara is going to help you to get your beauty game up. And what that means, Brittnee is going to be able to talk to you about walking in your authenticity. And we have Miss Sharice, who's going to help you to be more confident while you do it all. And so as we are talking, as we're answering these questions, as we're having this conversation, those are the 4 angles that we're going to be hitting you all with. If you have questions, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the comments. All you ladies can see the comments, right? You can see the comments as they're coming through. If you can see the comments, we'll go ahead and we'll make sure that we'll answer any questions that you have. I'll make sure I keep my eyes on it, but I want to jump into this conversation and jump into the questions that we have for tonight. And so our first one is, why is your particular area of expertise, if you will, why is it important to women getting their whole life? So what we'll do is we'll start with NaKeara, then we'll go Brittnee, then we'll go Sharice. Feel free to jump in, and I'll add in my mental health 2 cents as well. So why is beauty important for women to get their whole life?
So before I answer that question, because I almost forgot, I think I've been on quarantine too long. I am the owner of NKA Salon and Nail Spa. Let me back in. And I also am the founder of my newly launched, well, I didn't launch it yet, but it's new, Be Her on Purpose, her meaning healed, empowered, and restored. So I'll be launching that soon. So why is beauty important for women getting their whole life? Beauty is important because it's very much intertwined with a person's psychological well-being. And so beauty is crucial because when people are off mentally, when something's wrong internally, it shows on the outer appearance. That's the first thing to go, is the outer appearance.
Yep.
We neglect our hair, we neglect our grooming, we neglect washing our hair, washing our bodies, we don't care about our appearance. We don't care to throw on makeup here and there. Our appearance is the first thing to go, and there's something internally that is off balance. And so beauty is important because that signifies your mental well-being. That signifies where you are. I can always tell where someone is. I can always tell what kind of diet they're intaking by looking at their hair and their skin. If you're stressed, if you're depressed, anxious, your hair is going to be dull, your skin is going to be dull, it's going to lack luster. If you are depressed and stressed, your hair, you can suffer from sudden breakage, because stress, it manifests in our body in different ways, and hair is one of the first signals of it.
Wow.
So hair breakage is, a sign. Breakout is a sign. So I can always tell just by looking at someone whether they're taking care of themselves or not. Mentally, like I said, diet-wise, if they're drinking enough water, all that is intertwined. Right. And so that's why it's important.
Right. That's so powerful, because I know coming from the mental health perspective is that you're right. The first indicator, so you're looking at it from a different level. You're looking at it from like a chemical level or whatever. But the first sign that something is going wrong with people is their outer appearance. That's the first thing. There's something in mental health called decompensation. And decompensation basically is when we stop taking care of ourselves. And when something is really not wrong in a person's life, you're right. They're not washing their hair. They're not keeping up with their hygiene. They don't care about the makeup. So we're walking around with the dark spots under our eyes. We don't care what we put on, right? And we just kind of let that go. So can you just give a quick tidbit, and we'll jump into this later, about how does beauty, looking good, feeling good, how does that help a person? How does that help a woman in order to be better or feel better about herself?
So yes, it just transforms their self-esteem, their confidence. It boosts morale when you feel good. When you feel good, you look good. That's just not a saying. It truly is a fact. It's a study that when you look good, you feel good. I've been trying to encourage women throughout this quarantine to just get up and get dressed. Even if you're working from home, don't go weeks and weeks without your self-care. Okay, that's a part of your self-care. That's a part of your well-being. I don't care if you throw on some lipstick and sit on the couch, but do something. Do your hair. you know, you're going to feel a whole lot better. You're going to feel more productive. You're going to feel like, okay, I can get something done. You know, it just does. It's just something in your mind and your brain just clicks like, okay, I can do this. I can get through this. I can testify that, you know, many people who are coming out of traumatic situations, coming out of illness, getting their hair done is one of the first things that they do.
Yep.
And that's something that they were doing. That's one of the first things that they do to get them back on track. And it's like, okay, my inner being is not there yet, but I'm going to look it until it catches up.
Absolutely.
So fixing that outer appearance, it just increases everything on the inside.
That's so good. Thank you for sharing, NaKeara. I'm going to jump over to Ms. Brittnee N. Smith. I just like saying your whole name, so I'm just going to keep saying your whole name. It don't sound right if I just say Brittnee. You got to say Brittnee N. Smith with the emphasis.
I'm back on the name now.
Right. Talk to the ladies on here tonight about how authenticity and walking authentically is so important to them getting their whole life.
So in order for you to move forward, in order for you to be where you're supposed to be, you have to know who you are. Because if we're not true to who we are, we'll end up making decisions and going places and doing things that aren't really for us, right? So let's just say, for example, we just talked about self-care. If I don't know who I am, I don't know what I like. I don't know what really makes me feel good. So I might go and look at what makes NaKeara feel good and try on what she has and try on what Charisse has and try on what Chanel has, but I don't know what I like. And so now I'm frustrated because I'm trying on all your other things and it doesn't fit me. Right. And that leads to a whole bunch of other different things. It feeds insecurity. It feeds that comparison demon. It feeds fear of rejection, all those different things. When you don't know who you are, when you don't have identity for real, you end up going like, you're living life like this. And wherever the wind goes, you're there. And that's an exhausting way to live. Right. So as it pertains to getting your whole entire life, you need to be grounded in some sort of sense of identity. Who are you? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What takes you off? What breaks your heart? What causes make you want to get up and take action, right? What kinds of guys are you really into? Not just the ones that your friends are into, right?
Oh my.
All those things make a difference in the decisions that you make, and that ultimately affects the trajectory of your life. So authenticity is a core issue. Who are you at your core?
A core issue.
Yes, core issue. That sounds good, right? It's a core issue. And once you are able to identify who you are at your core, you're able to make realer decisions or more real decisions to get you to where you want to be and need to be. Because one thing that I've found, I've struggled with this, right? I've lived a life of doing what other people want me to do, doing what other people expect from me, and not really seeking that out for myself. And it led me way over left field. And I'm like, this is not the life I want. Right? Because I was responding to the who they made me to be and not the who that I really am. So you can't get your whole life without being authentic to who you are.
Right. That's so good. You know, one of the things, I just did a talk with a soon-to-be doctor. I'm so excited for her, one of my really good friends, about women and their mental health. And one of the things that was addressed is that identity is one of the biggest issues that we find ourselves addressing with women as it pertains to their mental health. Most women go through this weird kind of stage of trying to find that identity. And identity formation is so important for you, like you said, for you to walk authentically, but also just for you to have good understanding who you are. You want to talk about that comparison demon? When you don't know who you are, when your identity is somewhere blowing in the wind and doing this, like you said, when your identity is shot, your mental health is down the drain because you spend so much time trying to be this to this group of people, trying to be this to this person, or trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to keep up with that. When the truth of the matter is the Joneses ain't even the Joneses, okay? And we're trying to keep up with an ideal of people. We're trying to keep up with an ideal of a person when the truth of the matter is half of people don't even like themselves the way that they should. And we're sitting here chasing a dream. We're sitting here chasing people, trying to be just like them, when truth of the matter is they're trying to be like us. They're trying to, I can't tell you how many times I come into contact with people that I admire. You know what I'm saying? Like people, I'm just like, oh my God, I admire. And they're looking at me like, yo, and I'm looking at them like, yo. And it's just like, because we don't
You
know
know
who
what?
we are. We don't know who we are. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, remember we had a moment like that, you and I.
Yep.
We
Sure
was
did.
like, so this might sound crazy, but you know, I'm just over here thinking like how like you the bomb and everything, and I just be scared to tell you because I think you so cool. And you like, but that's how I feel about you. It was so crazy, but it's so real.
I think we all had to overcome that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how freeing that moment was. How freeing that moment was, knowing that, wow, there's things about me she admires. There's things about her that I admire. But we could just admire each other, but at the same time, uplift each other and be uniquely us at the same time, right? That idea of authenticity and identity formation is so important. We're going to get into some of that, but I don't want to forget Miss Cherie Styles just sitting in the corner there. I didn't forget about you. I did not forget about you. Tell us a little bit about how confidence. Why is confidence important, and how does it help the ladies to get their whole life?
Listen here, Linda's, like, confidence is so important. One thing that I do when I meet with my young girls or meet with women, also I forgot to mention confidence coach. I'm a confidence coach as well. So just helping people to realize who they are. You know, we hear the term a lot, fake it till you make it. And I'm like, okay, that's cute and all, but when are we going to be real with ourselves? So figuring out who you are, accepting who you are. A lot of women have a hard time accepting themselves, accepting their flaws. And so I help them to point them out. I coined this phrase called false flaws, which are things that we've taken on ourselves as issues or flaws, which were projected on us. So working through that, like, okay, someone said I had big feet. Did I find that an issue? It's a fact. My feet are big, but I carry that around and think that there's something wrong with me instead of accepting who I am, who I was created to be. And so just digging through that, having self-esteem. A lot of us compare who we are, what we see, and I start with the young girls, because if we can get this issue down when they're young, they can be confident women who can take over the world and change the world. You know, statistics show that 7 out of 10 girls, you know, they will face they prevent themselves, or they stop doing their normal activities because of how they feel, of how they feel about themselves, because they don't have that self-esteem, they don't have that confidence. And so I'm trying to help them when they're young, so that when they're older, they'll be able to have those tools to help them fight all of the negative energy that comes their way.
Because confident girls lead to confident women.
Hello.
That is so powerful in and of itself. I love that statement when you said false flaws, because oftentimes, like, flaws shouldn't even be a word. Like, what's really a flaw when it's uniquely who I am, right? One of my issues was height. Like, I was always the shortest in the class. Like, always. Like, I don't care what grade I was in, I was always the shortest. And that I used to be conscious about that. And so one day I'm like, wait, I get frontline access, so I'm getting to lunch first. I was first in the graduate. I graduated in a class of 500. I was second in line, y'all. So I didn't have to wait until everybody got their diploma and take a seat. I was second in line, and finding ways and finding things in order to own these flaws, like owning it, because confident girls lead to confident women. And if we're honest, more women need confidence than they're willing to admit. More women need to be able to walk out that confidence thing a little bit better than we're willing to admit. And so that's so powerful. And so with that being said, what I want us to do is I want us to go and I want us to talk about our journey. Like, how did mental health become important to me? Why did beauty become important to you? Why did authenticity and confidence? We all had a journey. And I think part of us helping women to get their lives is us being transparent and open and honest about what our journey was that ultimately led us there. I don't believe that, most times people don't just pick up something. Oh, mental health sounds good. I think I'm going to go running with that. No, there's a journey that we went through that we fell upon that led us there. And so I want to have a little bit of conversation about why, how, what was your authentic journey in your particular area of expertise. And so who wants to start? Who wants to start with their journey?
I can start with my journey.
Everybody else like, go ahead, Sharice.
Tell you, because being confident and knowing who you are, it is about telling your story. And that's one thing that I struggle with for so long, so long. And so my confidence journey really started like at birth. The thing that messed with me was rejection. Like that was the kicker. If that was the kicker, period, the kicker. And just learning how to deal with it. It started from before I was even born. Doctors just trying to kill me off. Like, no, don't do it. She's going to have issues. I don't have any type of issues. Praise God. But just being rejected from friends, boys, and people that I thought would just be there for me. And they were just like, no, you're weird, you're odd. Or they just had no reason to just reject me. Like, dudes ghosted me. Like I was the queen of being ghosted. Okay. And so all of that definitely played a role in who I was, who I thought I was. And I was just like, okay, well, something obviously has to be wrong with me. What am I not doing right? And so that played a major role in it. And people look at me and they're like, oh, you're so beautiful. You don't have any issues. And I'm like, if you only knew. I'm just kidding. Well, maybe I'm not cute enough. Maybe my body isn't body enough. I don't have enough boobs, butt, hips, whatever. Like all of that. Maybe my arms are too skinny. Maybe I need to eat more. There was a point in my life where I was taking like supplements to try to gain weight. Like I would do the craziest things, we have a girl talk, right? Like try to get the biggest, paddedest bra to make me like someone else. C cup one day, A cup the other day. And it was just like, it was so bad to the point where, like I got depressed. 2018 was the worst year of my life to date. Well, I left my job. I equated what I did making money to who I was. And when I wasn't making money, I was like, I'm trash. I am trash. I didn't want to talk to anyone. No one, nothing could help. And I totally forgot who I was. And so just the fact that I was able to process all of that, confident coach, but I was still going through some things, trying to build the confidence of other people when I'm not feeling confident myself. Like that's real life. And I had to go to the therapy. I had to sit down and talk to someone to process all of this, even though I am the confidence coach. Like I need help, And so, my journey has been one of ups and downs, a lot of ups, a lot of just steady, like, oh, I'm good. We're in a good place. It has just been, it's been a journey. And I'm just thankful that I've gone through it. I'm going through it. I've come out and and I just want to thank you all because you guys were with me during that crazy time.
She didn't want to talk about 2018, y'all, but we was there anyway.
She talked about
we was there anyway.
She tried to ghost us, okay? She was trying to ghost us.
Yes.
Like, I got your brownies. This will bring back.
I don't want no brownies. I don't want anybody.
That's real though, and I guess I'll jump in there because my journey, you said so many things that parallel to what it was with me. I tell people now I have an AD and a BC story of being a therapist. My BC story was, I used to read my mom's psychology books, and I thought I could control people's minds if I became a psychologist. And so I jumped on, so I just kind of followed it through, wound up loving it. But the Lord in his graciousness, and I can say that now, and that is a part of my testimony now, that God was gracious for what he allowed me to go through. And, many people already know my story of, I had a tragic miscarriage, and many health issues that went along with that. From that miscarriage, I wound up being in a hospital. They didn't know if I was going to make it due to blood clots in my heart and my lungs. A month after that, found out that I had the possibility of cancer. I lost my ability to walk. And through all of that, when I say that this therapist lost her mind, I mean, this therapist lost her ever-loving mind, y'all. Like, I experienced anxiety in a way that I never knew existed. I experienced depression in a way that I never knew existed. Literally, when they say you have to remove the scales from your eyes, it was literally a situation for me where I could not see the sunshine. And I'm not just saying that to sound powerful or for semantics. Like, I could not see the sunshine. I would literally go to my window. There were days when I would walk to my window and I would look outside and I would see people walking by and I was angry at them. I was angry at the people walking by because they looked happy. People were walking on. I'll never forget this image of this one girl walking by, and she had on these shorts and she had a black shirt. She was talking on a cell phone, and I was looking at her so angry and furious because she was outside experiencing the warmth, experiencing the sunshine. She could walk on her. And I could not experience that. And I was angry with her because I just wanted life to go back to normal or whatever that meant for me. And I was so mad. I was so upset. And I just could not see the brightness of day. And I remember, one in particular, one of my sisters who's on here today walked through that journey with me, like for real, for real. Brittnee can attest to the fact that I probably called her like 30 times a day. And I'm about to cry even thinking about it right now, because I literally would call her like 30 times a day just to convince me that I would be okay, just to convince me that I was still alive, because in my mind, I was already dead. In my mind, the doctors had already declared me as dead, and I was losing my mind. I had all the tools. I knew the entire skill set. I knew what the coping skills were. I knew what the right answers were. I understood what cognitive restructuring was, but I could not get it together for myself. And I would call my pastor day and night, and I would just please help me. Just help me through. Just tell me something. And if I'm honest, if we want to be real honest, there wasn't a scripture. There wasn't a prayer. There wasn't a sermon during that time that was comforting to me. I found no comfort in life. I found none. And that experience that I went through was one of the most heart-wrenching experiences of my life, but it was the best experience of my life now that I'm on the other side of that thing. It was one of the best experience of my life. That scripture where it says it was good for me to have been afflicted, I can confidently stand up today and say that it was good for me to have been afflicted, because I didn't know that on the other side of that thing, God was going to have me to birth this counseling center. And what I did not realize is that in me birthing that counseling center, I had done counseling for about 6 years previous in like a community mental health setting, and it wasn't real. People didn't take it seriously. It was different. But when I birthed Oasis Counseling Center, the people who come through my door are broken. They are hurting. And I'm not just sitting there now throwing some tools at them. Listen, I sit right next to them, right beside them, and I can say, I get it. Like, I know what your anxiety feels like. To this day, I still deal with anxiety. And that's why I see my therapist every 2 weeks. Praise God for my therapist. No shame in saying that. But to this day, I get triggered by anxiety. To this day, my mind takes me back there. But I can sit down with these people, and then my women in particular, because women are dealing with anxiety and depression at scary levels these days. And I'm able to sit down with them and say, yo, I get it. I get it. So there's nothing that I can sit here and tell tell you today that I think is going to magically cure you. This is a journey, and we're going to walk this thing out one day at a time. I praise God for my pastor. I praise God for Brittnee N. Smith, okay, during that time, who literally walked, and she can tell y'all, I was a hot-butted mess. Like, it was a journey, but I praise God that that journey led me to where I am here today, that I'm able to help tell my story, to help free other women and walk more authentically as a therapist. And so that is my journey. I could keep going, but I'm gonna turn this over to somebody else. Go ahead, Brittnee. Go ahead.
I just, first of all, yes, that time,
Right.
was crazy. Child, I'm having flashbacks myself, like, Lord Jesus. But this is why authenticity is so important, because when you're authentic, you own your story, and your story is the key to what you're supposed to be doing with your life. So if you're denying your story, if you're denying who you've been and the things that you've been through, you will never be as effective as you can be, or as effective as God created you to be. Because in order for you to help those people through those places, you have to go there first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's authenticity is the thing that drives your story and the thing that makes you effective. And I believe that regardless of who you are, you may not have a business, you may not be a content creator, you may not be a public speaker, but your story is for somebody.
Right.
And as you deny yourself, you're denying them the freedom that you have access to, right?
Right.
So I say all that to say, to sum up my story, I would say the phrase would be, where do I fit? That is the phrase that has, I don't want to say haunted me, but really has been the driver on my journey of trying to figure out who the heck I am and who the heck I'm supposed to be. For those of you that don't know, I am, I've been a track athlete my entire life. Well, I mean, not now, but I've been from 6 all the way up to college. I've been a student.
Now be careful, your mama watching now.
I know. I'm trying to use my words right. You know what I'm saying? But I've been a performer my entire life. And so when I'll fast forward to when I graduated college, there was no more track. There was no more school. Now what am I? Who am I? If I'm not running and if I'm not taking classes and getting A's and performing so people can tell me good job, who am I?
Right.
And I got a degree in journalism and media studies, didn't really fall into a job from that. So it was like I'm going through these odd jobs, trying to figure out, where do I fit? I'm trying to be my normal, silly self, and the adults are saying I'm not adult enough. And then the kids are saying that I'm not kid enough. And the teens are saying I'm not teen enough. And the women are, it's just, I bounced around to different circles and different friendships and different relationships and different jobs because I didn't know who I was without the things that I thought were me. Right. And so I guess it goes back to the difference between being a human being and a human doing. I was defining who I am or who I was by the things that I did. And that was good and bad, right? By the good things I did and by the bad things that I did. I was defining myself by those things, and I was exhausted mentally, emotionally, all of that. And it's just a cycle, really. It's just a cycle of trying to figure it out. Where do I fit? Where do I fit? Where do I fit? Until I finally got the courage enough to say, wait a minute, the common denominator here is me. It's not these different places. So maybe I need to get in touch with me and figure out who I am. I had to take a whole journey in and of itself with that. And it's emotional. It is scary. It's beautiful. It's challenging. It's fun. It's all these different things, but everybody has to go on the journey of figuring out who they are. How do you do that? You experiment. Like, I had to figure out what kind of books I liked. As simple as, okay, do you like Pepsi or Coke? Like, some people don't even know if they like Pepsi or if they like Coke because they never take the time to get to know what they like and what they want.
Right.
So it took me time to just experiment with those things. I realized that I have the option. I have the choice of who I connect with in relationship. I didn't.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? I can choose who my friends are. You know what I'm saying? And if this group of people over here don't bang with me, I had to realize, oh wait, there's more people. I can go find another group to bang with. I can find my tribe. So it was just opening my mind to the possibilities that I'm not in a box. I don't have to stay in this box, rather. But that I can explore outside of that and be okay with the fact that it may not be everybody's cup of tea. you know, and that's a journey in and of itself. But that's kind of the path that I've taken, is just trying a whole lot of different things until I started to feel that I knew that this was me and this is where I'm supposed to be. So I don't know if that made any sense, but that's why all over the journey, and I had to find and trust that I was in the right place.
Awesome. Makes perfect sense. Thank you. Last but not least, Mrs. NKH herself.
Yes. So my journey, this was a good question, I have to say. This is a good question. I'm glad you asked, because it really made me do some digging and put it together. So for me, I have to say beauty became something that I could control. So my journey, I would say the overall theme of my life has been just losses, um, failed expectations, brokenness, being a functional depressant, if you will. Beauty is what kept me together. That was like the only thing I could control. I didn't just wake up like this. A lot of people see me now and they're like, oh, you're just always so put together. I wasn't always so put together, still not all the way put together on the inside, but I definitely wasn't always put together on the outside. So I was like, you know, a tomboy. I really didn't care. I didn't wear makeup. I didn't care about that for the longest, you know, until I hit my 20s and I'm like, okay. So I just started wearing makeup. I've always done hair. That's just been a natural talent that I've had. So my hair has always been done. But I didn't see it as, you know, a career at first. But it has been something that I could control. And even in I look back, even in my most broken states and broken times in my life, sometimes I can look at pictures and I'm looking sharp to the nines. And I know at that time I was like the lowest of the lowest. And nobody knew, because I kept it together on the outside. Now, I didn't know whether that was because of my career, you know, because I'm a hairstylist, so I have to always look the part. So, you know, that's part of my promotion. But also, I didn't know either if it was like, is this a front, or is this something that I'm doing until, you know, subconsciously, until I get to that point on the inside. So it kind of became all three. This is the industry that I'm in. This is a cover up for how I'm really feeling. And I'm just looking like this because I know I'm going to get to this point eventually, you know? So that's what it became for me. And as much as I try to run away from it, I realized that God has used my experiences with, you know, from the very first loss I can remember was losing my father, to losing, you know, the only family unit I knew that was displaced, to, you know, losing just different things. I could just go down the line, losing this, losing that, different experiences, and just always wondering why, you know, things were always harder for me. You know, why is everything a fight? So having to struggle with that, beauty became something I can control. I can't control where I live right now. I can't control how much money I have. I can't control this. But you know what? I can control putting a crown onto this head. I can control making sure these eyebrows is on fleek. I can control how I look. You know, I'm looking all dressed up, you know, and it's like, that's something that I could control. And so it kind of became a saving grace for me, if you will. You know, it helped me from going all the way out there on the times where, you know, I could have lost it, from being in toxic relationships and where I really wanted to just lose it. It helped me keep it together in a way. And even up until 9 months ago, it was like, I would say the loss that kind of was like the straw that broke the camel's back, was losing my daughter. And so that, I think I would have just totally given up. But I remember I have a salon to have to run, so I got to get up. Or,
Wow.
you know, besides, you know, I have a child, I have a family, but just like, okay, I can't totally just go off. I have a business I need to run. So it's like beauty is saving me and keeping me going. Because if I didn't have that salon, who, you know, I'll be somewhere else, probably in the corner somewhere. So it has helped me walk this out, walk out my brokenness, walk out my depression, walk out the losses, and truly, it became a foresight, me looking at myself of where I wanted to be or where I knew I should be. So I'm walking it out. I'm gonna keep on getting myself together each and every day. I'm gonna keep on dressing myself up. I'm gonna keep on throwing some sharp earrings on. I'm gonna keep on throwing some lipstick on. I'm gonna keep on
More.
dressing up, and I'm gonna keep on because it's keeping me going on.
Yeah.
It's keeping me
Yeah.
until I get to this place where I can say, hey, I was broken, but I can truly speak from a healed place. I can speak from a place that has overcome some things, because a lot of people do come into my salon, and I realize that my salon is a ministry. That's why it's not running like everybody else's. So even getting over those type of things and embracing what God has put on me and in me, and just the blessing, what was I can truly say that it's been a blessing to have been afflicted, because of what I've been through and what the type of people that come into my salon. People, I can, you know, just go on of how many people come into the salon and they just break down crying because
Mm-hmm.
of whatever they're coming in from, you know, or they come in and it's like, I mean, they're just broken. And
Right.
so what I do, even if I don't, you know, I can pray with them right then and there. I can share my experience. I can share my story and my journey to help them overcome. Like, look, I got here. I haven't always been here. I know how it looks on the outside, but this has been a journey getting to this point, you know?
Yeah.
And so I use that all the time. And I just know just I pray over my hands, even when I don't even, if the person come in and not even saying anything,
That's
but you're getting
powerful.
that hair wash and that thing is lifting off of you.
Amen.
So I know that the power of coming in and taking care of yourself. I know the power of getting that hair wash because I know the power and the anointing that rests on me and in my hands. And so those are the things that I had to overcome, and realizing that, you know, we're all set apart for specific things in our area. But I can help a woman who's been broken. I can see it a mile away. Sometimes I can see a woman who's, you know, literally coming out of her sick bed or in her sick bed, and I can just see past that. It's like, okay, you can get up from here. Let me just clean up your eyebrows a little bit. Let me just put some concealer right here to fix you up a little bit so you can just
Mhm.
get that little boost that you need to get up out the bed
Right.
to go on for the next day. You
Right.
know, so a lot of people think, oh, that's just that. I don't need that. But I see the other side of it. You know,
Right.
I see something different. So
Right.
that's why I always try to encourage women, like, listen, do something. You know, let's do something. I'll help you do something with your hair. I'll help you, you know, let's get you a makeup look routine so that can help you get through your day. It's going to help with something. It's a start. You
Right.
know, and that is followed by the encouragement. That's followed by the prayers. That's followed by, you know, the empowerment.
Right.
So
That's so
that
powerful.
has been my journey. Yeah.
Because one of the things you said is like the first thing that people do when they come up out of a sickness or they come up out of a hard place, one of the first things you do, it literally is to go get your hair done.
Yeah.
Like whether you're coming up out the hospital, whether you've been depressed, like whether you've been going through a rough time, like I guarantee you, after this pandemic is over, the first thing people are going to do is run to them salons to get them haircuts and to get their hair done. And
Yeah.
so it's so powerful. I love, I love how you said that it was something that I can control. And,
Yeah.
one of the things when it comes to people's mental health, they're always on a search and a journey. The reason why mental health is an issue is because it presents things that we cannot control. And
Yeah.
human nature is to be able to be in control at all
Yep.
times, especially for women.
Yes.
Especially for women. When women feel that they have no control or that they're out of control, like it throws their whole life off of balance. And you're right.
Yeah.
There are just certain things realistically that we can't control. I can't control the fact that I got depression. I can't control the fact that I may have another issue of concern that may require medicine, or that I have to go to the doctor and something. I can't control my body necessarily, but I can control my beauty. I can control the fact that I'm going to get up, I'm going to show up, because when you talk, what I hear, it's about how are you showing up? Show up anyway. You can decide to sit in the corner and cry, or you can show up. And I can attest to the fact that when I decided to start showing up, it was like an overnight switch. Like something changed over, like literally one day I was boohooing, and then one day I decided to get up and to show up. And then healing came when I showed up. That is so powerful. Healing came when I showed up. So I have a quick question for you ladies. In your respective area, would you say that you have overcome? Yes or no? No. Mental health, no. I am still on a journey of getting my mental and emotional health as a therapist. That's me. Who else?
I can confidently say no.
And I can authentically say no as well, because we're always evolving.
Always.
We're always changing. So we every single day, we have to, like you said, make the choice to show up. You also have to make the choice to show up. How are you going to show up? Are you going to show up authentically? Or are you going to be fake Frida and give the face that you think everybody is expecting? Or am I going to show up and say, listen, I do this sometimes. Like if I'm going live and I'm not feeling it that day, I'm going to go live and say, listen, y'all, I'm going to give y'all this content, but I ain't feeling it today. Because people want the real. People connect with what's real. And that's what I tell people all the time, like clients that I'm working with who have businesses. Your business will fail if you're not real. Because people can see through that. I'm not feeling it in your salon if she's not real. Because I can tell when people, you can tell when people are just fake, that you can tell when they're just trying to get the dollar from you. You can tell when they don't really care. That's why it's important for us to know what we are called to do and walk in that thing. Because the Bible talks about how we have the power. He gives us the power to get wealth or create wealth, right? He gives the real you the power to create real wealth.
Real you.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you show up and you're trying to be somebody else, you're not going to experience that level of wealth that you're supposed to, because you're supposed to be this person over here. So no, you're going to be authenticating every day, honey.
NaKeara, have you overcome?
My beauty. I was like,
yes, honey. You can say yes. It's okay.
You can say yes.
That part, yes. That part, yes. Because I can truly say that for the most part, I look how I want to look. You know, I present the image that I want to present. There's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement, of course. But I definitely am at a place where I look and present how I want to look and present.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. And so one of the things that I wanted the audience to hear through that question is to hear that you do not have to have it all together to get your whole life. Oftentimes we think, you know, in order, especially if you're a type A, oh, come on, if you were type A, like everything has to be perfect, right? Like I got to make sure the logo is right. I got to make sure that this is right and that is right. You will never achieve in life if you're waiting for something to be perfect. Perfect is the enemy of getting started. If you are just going to get started, if you're going to get and listen, y'all, I'm not just talking about being an entrepreneur. I'm not just talking about starting a business. I'm talking about your health journey, right? I'm talking about your family life. I'm talking about your authenticity. I'm talking about, you've been talking about you want to reinvent yourself for all this time. What is stopping you? Oh, I'm just waiting till I drop these little 35 pounds. Listen, it may take you a while to drop the 35 pounds, but you could still be a big girl and slay. I'm only telling you because I'm a big girl and I slay. Like, I'm telling y'all. If you wait until things are perfect, until the conditions are perfect, you are never going to get started on getting your whole life. And I wanted you to see here, the four of us, we are not coming to y'all as people who have yet, we've obtained and we know all, and we know that we're coming to you as people like, listen, I'm still learning what it means to run a business. I'm still learning what it means to be a therapist. I'm still learning what it means means to be a wife, right? I can
Oh,
go
yes.
on and on. We have not yet obtained. And so the encouragement in that for you all is to remember, wherever you are, whatever your situation is, I don't care what your situation is, you can still show up. You can still get your whole life. You can still get started on those dreams. You can still do destiny. You can still do your goals. Maybe you don't have $1 million. Listen, one of the blessings, I got to give a shout out real quick. Y'all know I had to do it to my hubby, y'all. I have to give a shout out to him. He started his lawn care business on a wing and a prayer. One day he was like, you know what? I'm going to cut some grass. He is now in year 4 or 5. And we're into year 4 or 5 of the cut season, about a month and a half in. And he has enough for a down payment for a car because we need a car.
Hallelujah.
Hustling, y'all. And I praise God for that kind of hustle. But listen, he could have waited till he had the top of the line. I need the John Deere. I need the cats. I need the top of the line. I need t-shirts. I need logo cards. No, he went out there and did it. And because he did it, somebody saw that he was doing it. And somebody saw that he was doing it. So you said, so you know what they did? They was like, oh, my neighbor wants you to cut them. Oh, this one wants you to cut them. Now he cutting people all over South Jersey just because he dared to get started. No, it's not 100% where we want it to be. No, it's not 100% together. But guess what? He got started. He making money. So now he's making the money that he needs in order to do the things that he needs to get, where he can get the big riding mower and he can get the big equipment, right? It's just about getting started. I don't care what your situation is. You can get started. You can get started. You can get started.
I wanted to add on to that because a lot of people too, I like to tell, well, I always end up telling my story, how I started my salon. You're never going to come up to a perfect situation. It's never going to be right. It's never going to be right. You're never going to have enough money unless you win the lottery or something, but you're never going to have enough money. And I tell you, when I opened my salon, when I signed my lease, I had 3 pennies in my account, 3. But I was obedient to what God said and got started. And once I got started, you know, and it was such a journey. Like it was still a whole year before I actually opened because I was in there getting things together and still trying to convince myself that this is where I was supposed to be, because I'm like, I'm not ready. Like, this ain't perfect. This is not what I thought it was going to be. But as I kept going, as I kept showing up, God kept putting people in my path. Hey, what else do you need? I need chairs. I'm going to get you a chair. Hey, what else do you need? I need this. Okay, here's that. Hey, what else do you need? Okay, here's that. Here, I'm going to write a check. Here, I'm going to do this and do that. And God just kept putting people in my path because I kept going. And I wasn't too proud to say, hey, I need help.
She wasn't too proud. She wasn't too proud. She wasn't too proud to beg. No.
If you need help, drop I need help in the comment section right now. If you're ready to admit that you need some help, go ahead and drop it. I wanted to add to that.
It's good, man.
I'm making a lot of things pop off in my head. First of all, like you said, you have to get started and know what you need. Just have the list there. You may not have the money for it. You may not have the financiers for it. Just have the list, because people, when you're doing what you're supposed to do, God will put people just like, oh, by the way, I just happen to have an extra lawnmower. You need it? Like, oh, by the way, I just happen to have an extra office building. Need it? Like, do that. But the other thing, to comment off what Chanel said, is that I tell this to people all the time. The only reason the people out there are killing it is because they're being consistent and they're showing up. It's not because they're better than you. It's not because they have banging product. It's not because they're superly duperly cool experts. It's because they decided to show up. You got a whole lot of mediocrity out there winning, getting the money, mediocre, because you won't show up.
Right.
That is so true. And just to piggyback off of what NaKeara said, when I started off as a blog. I had no idea where your confidence. It started out with Closet Full of Confidence, and I was just writing about confidence and style and putting clothes together. And then I was like, oh, people are liking this. Let me start a website. Y'all remember MySpace? My website looked like a MySpace page. It was so bad. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, let me start making some shirts. And I had pictures. I was bending. They're like, what is this? I'm like, it's where your confidence and da 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 da. And I had NaKeara wearing one of my t-shirts, the very first ones I ever.
Yes, I remember.
I didn't know what I was doing. I know. And now we're like 8-9 years in, and
I remember.
I have a whole university. I have
Come on
students.
now.
I have young models. I have girls, and I'm just like, wow. It all started from a blog.
From a blog.
That's it.
From a blog.
And it's never going to be perfect.
And I hated my job.
And it's never going to feel like what you think it's going to feel like.
No, it's not.
Like, it's not. You think like you were saying, you think you get that money saved up, you're going to just, it's going to feel so great. No, it feels hard. Okay.
Right.
When you reach the goal, you open the salon. Now it's work. It's hard.
Like, now what? I got the key. I was like, now what?
It's hard.
Entrepreneurship, getting started, it's hard, y'all. You are the accountant. I'm the accountant. I'm the counselor. I'm the cleaning lady.
Everything.
I'm the bookkeeper. I gotta write the notes. I gotta return the calls. I gotta do the screenings, and I gotta work my full-time job. And I gotta be a minister at my church. And I gotta be a full-time wife. And I gotta be me. It's hard. It's hard, y'all.
Hard.
Hard in these streets.
Hard.
But listen, as you hear tonight, it is not impossible. Listen, I want to make sure we wrap up. I allotted 90 minutes of time, so I want to make sure that we get through some of these other questions because I think it's going to be beneficial. But listen, yes, Miss Melisha, it feels hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. But I want to make sure that we give the ladies the wealth of all this information. And listen, as we're sitting here talking, ideas are popping off, and so I don't think that we have enough time in this one conversation. So of course I want to do a part 2. But if y'all will, and y'all will, because y'all my sisters, I'm gonna make you do it. I want to have a one-on-one with each of you. I want to do a one-on-one live interview with each of you so we can dig into these areas specifically. Because I know for all of y'all, like we could probably talk for like 3 hours on beauty and authenticity and confidence. So I think that that would be so beneficial. So stay tuned, sisters. Put it on your calendar. Thank you. Love y'all. Booked. So anyway, so
Let me send you my booking form.
Ooh.
you can send it. I'm gonna send it right on back. Amen. Praise God. Jesus paid it all. Listen, but my next question is for you is, what are some unique factors to consider when women are addressing their mental health, their authenticity, their beauty, their confidence, and how does addressing these areas differ for women than it does for men? Does that make sense? I'm gonna say that one more time. What are unique factors for women to consider when addressing your specific area, and how does it differ for women than it does for men? I know I will talk for mental health specifically. Unique factors for women. Women are known to be a little bit more emotional, right? And so sometimes in that emotion, we don't stop to think. Men are a little bit more logical in their thinking and less connected to their emotions. And a lot of times we say that is, we look at that as a problem, but sometimes that's a plus, because women, sometimes we'll run in with our emotions and we don't take enough time to stop or think. We automatically react on what we feel, right? And so a situation happens, I start to feel some kind of way and my attitude coming out, or I start to feel some kind of way and I'm automatically going to shut down. And I think us being a little bit more logical, us being a little bit more realistic sometimes, and this is a blanket statement, this is not the case for all women, but for a good amount of women, is that we need to start stopping and thinking. We need to stop and think. I think more of us would benefit if we encounter a situation. It literally is okay in the moment just to sit down and say, okay, I need a minute. Whether it's when you're talking with your husband, whether it's talking with somebody else, whatever it is, we need to stop and think. You know how they say stop, drop, and roll? Well, we need to stop, drop, and think. Think about all aspects of it. You know, one of the things I teach my kids, my teens when I'm counseling them, is that teens automatically react. And it's the reaction that causes us the problem. I think if we took more time to not just go according to our feelings or run in according to our feelings, we would probably get better results in situations, because then I would be able to stop and think about, okay, all aspects of the outcome, right? Most times when I'm mad, I'm only thinking about the outcome that I'm about to make you mad. or you're not about to get this one over on me, and so now I'm gonna have to say something to get one over on you. But if I think about the outcome and considering who am I talking to, like, is it worth it? You know, what is going to be the cost and what is the benefit? What do I have to lose in a situation? I think that we would be able, that's right, Emily, thank you. Our impulse control, our ability to control our impulses and not just react on a situation. We hear people say it all the time, but we need to learn how to respond. When we respond, that means that we've listened. That means that we've considered our emotions. What I like to tell people is that you process your emotions, but you respond according to a situation. You don't react on emotions. Process your emotions and respond according to the situation. And so I would say that that is one of the factors that we need to consider as women, especially because we do live in such a male-dominated world. That's just the reality of it, y'all. We live in a male-dominated world. And I know sometimes my gut reaction, especially if it's coming up against a man toe-to-toe, you know, I want to buck up like, wait a minute. You're not about to, or whatever the case is, it's that gut reaction. But the truth of the matter is that oftentimes those gut reactions don't get us respect. Those gut reactions don't get us the results in the situation that we need. And realizing, and women, if we just realize that we are powerful in our own right. I don't have to get loud. I don't have to get nasty. I don't have to roll my head, even though I do that. I don't have to, you know, do all of that, right? We are powerful in our own right. And I think if we check our feelings at the door, what I'm not saying is ignore your feelings. I would never tell anybody to ignore their feelings, because my bent in mental health counseling is people learning to sit with and process your feelings. Emotional processing is so important, but you have to sometimes learn to check your feelings at the door so you can make sure that you are operating more logically, especially if we're going to be business women. We have to be able to think more logically as entrepreneurs and not just react according to it is how we feel. And so that's, I would say, that is a unique factor for mental health that women need to consider. Whoever else wants to jump in on your area.
I'm going to piggyback off of what you said. In the area of authenticity, I think one of the unique things to consider is the fact that how you feel and what you have to say is valid. And one of the things that I've dealt with is approval addiction, right? I always wanted to please other people. I wanted them to look favorably upon me. I wanted them to agree with me or find me agreeable with them. And so I would tailor my responses, I would tailor my reactions to try to facilitate or create the outcome that would be least uncomfortable for me. You know, I'm doing all this background thinking in my head, trying to maneuver and finesse the situation. Okay, if I say this, then they're going to say that. And if I do this, then they're going to do that. Instead of, like you said, processing how I feel, owning that and saying, you know what? My voice is for more than just agreeing. I'm allowed to disagree. I'm allowed to say no. I'm allowed to have a difference of opinion. And that is, I think, walking with your authenticity allows you to grow. You have to do that in order to grow. So as you are trying to address how you can be more authentic, is really thinking about what you think about and being okay with the fact that sometimes your opinion is going to be different than the person that you're talking to. All of us have certain relationships that weigh more in our lives than others. And to some extent, manipulation can take place. People can back you down into a corner because you just want to be in good standing with them. And so you yield all the time. That's not being authentic. God didn't make us to always yield, right? You have a voice, and that voice should be used for more than just saying yes.
Awesome.
Use your voice to say yes and no, or I don't know, right? But that, I think, is something that you need to consider. Consider the fact that you have a voice and your voice is valid.
That's good, especially for women. That is so good. I think one of the biggest issues with women is that when you talk about the identity piece, the other factor, it's their identity, but then the other factor is realizing that whether it's in marriage, whether it's in their job, whether it's in their friendships, whether it's in their families, that we have a voice and we are allowed to use it. We can use our voice. Know the power that there is in your voice. Don't use it for manipulation. Don't use it in such manners, but we have a voice, and it's okay to stand up and use your voice, even if, as you said, it does not it is not the same and it differs from everyone else in the room, right? I think that is so important. That's good stuff. What say you, Miss Sharice and NaKeara? What y'all got?
For me, what I would say is, as far as confidence, men, they just for majority of them, it's just easier for them to just be confident. They come off, head up, shoulders out, chest up, all that. And they're just like, oh, they just command the respect when they walk into a room. When we do that, it's considered, oh, she thinks she's better than me. Why is she walking like that? Or who does she think she is? And when men, on the other hand, it's like, okay, come in, walk a certain way, talk a certain way, and people respect them. Oh, they're confident. Oh, they know what they're doing. Oh, they know what they're talking about. And then with women, it's like, okay, so what am I supposed to do then? Like, how can I be confident without coming off as a know-it-all or a bossy or arrogant or, all these negative terms? And so the root cause of insecurity for women is men. It's like, no, I'm playing. It's like, I'm playing.
No, she's not.
But when we look, in an office setting, in a business setting, it is the men who are, that are getting those promotions, and it's the men who are being recognized and who are getting the accolades and the recognition and the compliments for being who they are. When women, we question a lot, okay, so who am I in this setting? Who am I in that setting? And so, yeah, confidence really does play a major role when it comes to women versus men. That's why it's so important for women to know who you are and walk in that. Know who you are, know who you're not, and accept that and just be yourself. Just be authentic, put your face on, and deal with your mental health as well.
Right. I love when you say know who you are, know who you're not. I think that is so important too, because sometimes I may know who I am, but then I may feel some kind of way because I'm not this or I'm not that. I think it's so important that we embrace our not. That's a workshop for you, Sharice. Embrace your not. I like that. You can have that one for free. For us as women to embrace who we are not, and that's okay. I'm not a skinny girl, so I'm embrace that. Not yet, y'all. Not yet. I'm not a skinny girl yet, but y'all wait. Okay. But it's okay for us to embrace who we are not. That is so powerful. So thank you for sharing that. And Miss NaKeara, what you got for us?
So I like that, knowing the power and who you are. I think a lot of women don't realize the power that they have in their image. They don't realize the power of their image. So when you walk in the room, no matter what's going on the inside mentally, if you're struggling with your authenticity, if you're struggling with your confidence, it's going to show on the outside, on your appearance. It's going to show how you dress. It's going to show how you walk in the room and carry yourself, your hair, your makeup, or not. It's going to show. We don't realize that our image can command the room. And I know when I come in the room, some people are intimidated because I'm coming in, I'm put together, and I'm walking, and I don't realize I'm giving that off. But you can command a room just by your look, and so whether you're going into the business, the corporate world, or wherever you're going into, your image has everything to do with it, whether people are going to take you seriously or not, whether people are going to respect you or not. I know I don't get approached by certain things because of how I look and carry myself. You're not going to come with no dumb stuff. Ooh, that's on purpose.
Listen,
that's on purpose. And so we have to carry that around, and it starts with how you're carrying yourself. I love when you tell how you were struggling with coming from your little girl stage to your adult stage, but that affected when you walked into a room. If you felt like a little girl, you shrunk back like a little girl, like you didn't belong there, until you opened your mouth and realized, oh, she's not a little girl. But then when the outer appearance lined up with this, like, oh, okay, they start seeing you in a different light. And so that's what, I love to, encourage women and help women with, is their, their image, and not to fall into the compare and despair syndrome, where we're in an era where it's selfie everything, filters galore, and everyone is thinking these fake images are the real deal, and they're not. And women have to realize that no one is perfect. And as cliche as it may sound, you are supposed to be unique. You are unique. You are you. And so we have to embrace it. We have to own who we are, what we look like, what we bring to the table, and walk in it in its fullness, and not fall for the okie doke that we see on Instagram or Facebook or everything else that we see on social media, where stuff has been chopped out, airbrushed to the nines, and we're thinking that we have to look like that. No, you look like your individual self, your individual beauty. This is your image, and you look like that. I would say it's the same thing for men. They're not as verbal about it, but they struggle with different things. They're struggling when they start, losing their hair and, getting out of shape or whatever. They're battling with their self-image as well. They're not going to say it, but they're battling as well. And so either you're going to change that, what you don't like, or you're going to embrace it. You start losing that hair, shave that thing, clean off, clear up that beard, and rock it.
Rock it.
Come on.
Rock it.
That's
I'm going to be bald. It's going to be clean. And I'm going to keep this beard tapered. If I got this extra belly, I'm going to get some bigger clothes. Rock it.
Right.
Just be yourself and own it. And so that's, what women can bring to the table, is owning who they are and really taking power of their image and commanding the room when they walk in there, just by how they look before you even speak.
Right. So I'm going to give, this is the 15-minute warning, the 15-minute drill that we have. And so we do have 2 more questions and that we're going to run through. And then we'll have an opportunity for you ladies to let the people know how they can reach you. Brittnee, you was going to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of what NaKeara was saying. In terms of owning it, it's almost like, or walking in your power is something that you had mentioned. And one thing I learned is that once I know what my superpower is, my confidence goes to another level. And now I'm going into those rooms knowing that this is what I'm bringing. I know for me personally, I used to struggle with, why the heck am I so silly, but yet I'm called a business? Because business and silly don't go together. But I know now that my silly is a part of my superpower. I go into rigid atmospheres and break people down with my sense of humor. Like that's a part of what I'm bringing to the table. I'm going to break you down with my sense of humor, and then I'm going to come in with the academia and the business acumen that you didn't even know was there, because I got you laughing, and now we can make this business deal happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, so because I know that about myself, I can use that to my advantage to build wealth relationships down the line, or that's how I get clients. You know what I'm saying? When we have that first conversation, I know that my humor and that my down-to-earth personality is one of the things that make people say yes to me, and that's authentically who I am. I'm not the business suit, straight face, serious all the time kind of person. Right. But because I own it, I can marry the two together, and people trust me because I do that so well. And that's who I am. So
awesome. So I'm actually going to skip one of the questions because I think it's a great segue into giving the women, what are practical tips that women can utilize during this time or any time to walk in their fullness in your respective area. I want to make sure that we don't just give them conversation, but I want to make sure that we walk away with giving them some practical tips. Like, how do they get their confidence? How do they start? How do they start walking authentically? Where can they start? But listen, I'm still waiting for my eyebrow workshop 101, NaKeara, because I don't know how to slay the eyebrows and I need to learn, right? But what are some practical tips that we can give the ladies that they can walk away with that's going to help them from this conversation tonight to start their journey to getting their whole life? Whoever wants to start, and I'm going to make sure I throw some of these tips up here.
I'll go, because it just goes into what I just said. Is basically just owning it. I can show you all day how to lay your edges, do your eyebrows, wear your makeup. But if you don't own it, you're still going to walk into a room and cower. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I really just that's one tip, own it. No matter what you do, you have to own it. For, you know, women who come here get the big chop for the first time, or they're coming in, they're changing their hair color, they're getting a new haircut. Before they get out that chair, I'm like, listen, look at me. I need you to walk out of here and I need you to own this. Don't walk into that room or don't go home and you're feeling unsure about how you look. You're feeling unsure about that new color. You're feeling unsure about that haircut. You got to own that thing and keep on owning it. And when someone compliments you, receive the compliment. A lot of times when we're insecure and someone gives us a compliment, we don't want to receive it. We want to and go go down the storyline of how we got to that point. It don't matter that you try to do your own relaxing, your hair fell out, so now you got to cut your hair off. Nobody needs to know that but me and you. So just say, you know what? Own it. Just own it. I think that's the biggest, tip that I can give women is own it. If you see different platforms, I have a special private group where, I'm giving women beauty tips on hair care, skin care, on my salon page, on my private page, makeup tips and stuff. Start there, you can start there with those different, practical little things you can do, different things you can add to your makeup bag to give you a little something, concealer, mascara, lip gloss. Those are three of my key
NaKeara,
things.
can you let them know what your page is so people can follow you?
Yeah, so first, my salon page is NKH Salon and Nail Spa. Also, I have a private page called NaKeara's Beauty Insiders. That is for my makeup and skincare tip. And I also have, and I'll go ahead and launch it on my page, and I'll write it in here for Be Her on Purpose, which is more so dealing with all that all together, just on a deeper level. So
awesome stuff.
I'll go ahead and put that there. Yes,
I did. I put.
You put up there. Oh, good. Yeah. So NaKeara's Beauty Insiders, and you can just inbox me, and I can add you to the group.
Awesome. Thank you for that, NaKeara. Who's next?
Eeny, meeny, miny, Sharice.
First tips, practical tips. You can get in contact with me. We can do one-on-one coaching. But for today, what I'd like to say to the ladies watching is finding out who you are. That's a major thing, and not equating who you are with what you do. So when I ask the question, a lot of times, like, who are you? People would always tell me what it is that they do. And what I mean by that is your personality traits, like the good and the bad parts. A lot of people always want to give the good parts about them. I'm like, okay, that's good. So what about the other side? Because there's always two sides of the coin. So just finding out who you are for real. And then tackling those flaws. We're in quarantine right now. So let's sit down and let's talk about what issues are you dealing with? Like, what is it that's preventing you from fully believing in yourself? And write it down. Write it down. Like, did those flaws come up from yourself? Did someone say something to you and now all of a sudden you think something's wrong with you? Like, do that. Let's start the work.
Start the work.
Awesome. And Sharice, I know you have like a book of compliments, right? Confidence boosting compliments is something. What are some confidence boosting compliments that women can walk away with today that's going to help them?
So in the book, I tackle different things that we should be complimented on. So looks, their abilities, what they do, and who they are. Those are the top.
Awesome. You got to compliment yourself, ladies. You may not always, truth of the matter is, a lot of times other women are don't compliment as much as we should be, because there's an insecurity about ourselves. Dare I say, there's a jealousy and an envy. Like, you could be looking good. Like, you ever have that day when you know you're looking good? You spent extra time on your foundation. You made sure your liner was just right. Your hair was laid. You know you spent all night pressing this outfit. You got the crease down the middle. The heels is watching a little accent color on the shirt. And you will go out there and nobody will say nothing.
Nothing.
Like, nothing to you. It's not because you don't look good. It's because their own insecurities and their own jealousy won't allow them to own up and just come up and say, girl, you looking good today. What I've learned is that sometimes when I'm insecure and I'm not feeling my best, I will tell, like, girl, them shoes, you rocking them shoes. You better go ahead with them jeans on. Because sometimes in complimenting other people, complimenting other women, it helps me to feel better about myself and make sure that I check myself and get my game up the next time. And so compliment yourself is so important. Brittnee B, what you got for us? Now I called you Brittnee B, switching it up on
Does
us.
that mean I should sing my response now?
You should, go ahead.
No, thanks. So that's a good segue, because my number one is be nice to yourself. That's the first step to becoming more authentic, is to be nice to yourself. What do I mean by that? We are our own worst critic. And if you're really trying to get in touch with who you are, it's almost like you're getting to know a new person. Because if you are honest, you've been living the life of someone else for the last however many years, right? Because like Chanel saying, we're moms, we're wives, we're ministers, we have all these other hats. And if we let it, and sometimes we do because it's easier, we allow those other roles to become who we are, right? Not realizing that there's a person under, there's an actual head underneath all those hats. And so we beat ourselves down because we didn't do this right. We didn't do that. We didn't wear this right today. We didn't say the right things over here. The first step to being more authentic is to be kind to yourself. Take it easy on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself when you make a mistake, or when you fumble over your words, or when you have not such a great day, or whatever, when you don't nail it, right? When you are nicer to yourself, you get to know things about yourself that you tried to ignore before.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? And when you're nicer to yourself, you're then able to tell other people how to treat you, right? That's the first thing. The next thing is giving yourself, it kind of ties in, giving yourself room to grow. Recognizing that you're not perfect and being okay with that. Giving yourself room to grow. Like, my team cracks up at me all the time because I'm like, oh man, I messed up on this. I just did some pre-recorded videos that I was going to do for this challenge. And I kept the same outfit on and just recorded all my videos, right? And they were like, well, you can't put the videos up every single day and have the same shirt on, because now it looks like you just have the same shirt on every day. I had to laugh at myself. And I had to say, you know what? Oh, I fumbled that one. Let me just go ahead and fix it. Now, before, the unauthentic version of that, I would have fell out. I might have cussed them out for pointing it out to me. I probably would have canceled the whole challenge. But because I'm in touch with myself and I'm okay with myself making mistakes, it allows me to show up in the group and say, hey, y'all, listen, y'all were going to get pre-recorded videos, but you got me live because I messed up. It frees me and it frees the other people that I'm talking to at the same time.
Right.
And then lastly, go where you're celebrated. You've heard this before. Go where you're celebrated and not just where you're tolerated. That will help to build up who you really are. I had to find people that were okay with my silly, that appreciated my silly, that appreciated my quirky little weird things and how I like to sing random songs out of nowhere, like people that appreciated my differences. And that helped me settle into my own skin and really be able to shine brighter. You know what I'm saying? So getting around other people that love you for who you are. And that's going to be a challenge for some of y'all, because even that love is uncomfortable because you're not used to it. You know, if you don't love yourself, when other people try to love on you, it's weird and it's uncomfortable and it's hard. But you have to, again, go where people will celebrate you and settle into the skin that you were given.
Absolutely. That's really good. For mental health, I'm not going to be able to put the cute little banners up because I can't talk and type at the same time. But you know, one of the things I want to I want to talk to ladies about, it's time out for allowing yourself to be a mental and emotional wreck and not doing anything about it. You do not have to suffer in silence. As women, we are the number one culprits for suffering in silence. We will go home and be a hot buttered mess, balled up, don't want to get out the bed. You know, I can remember a few weeks ago, when the pandemic first started, I was so overwhelmed because the pandemic was started, right? And I had to remember that I too was going through the pandemic as a therapist, right? It was new for me too. My business was shut down, school was shut down, or whatever the case is, but I was still counseling, and I was counseling at high levels. And I got so overwhelmed that I kind of backed off from like the group chats and stuff with my sisters. And so it was funny, you know, all three of them respectively at different times hit me up on the side like, hey, ain't heard from you in a minute, where you been? Like, hey, how you doing? And I remember NaKeara, she actually video chatted me. She was like, nah, I got to see your eyes, I got to see your face.
See?
You know what I mean? I was like, I got to see your face, where you been. And I'm grateful for that, because I needed a moment to stop and process. Like, I was sinking, and I didn't realize that was coming out by disconnecting. I wasn't purposely doing that. But oftentimes we're sitting alone and we're sinking, and we have nobody in our life. Well, first of all, let's go there. We have nobody in our life that can check us and say, hey, something is wrong. You have to get a support system. I say this all the time, and I'll continue to say this. God created us to be relational beings. We were not created to be in isolation. We were not created to be alone. The first thing that the enemy will do when you start to suffer in your mental and emotional health is isolate you. Why? Because if I can isolate you, I can leave you to your own devices. You're unchecked. There's nobody there checking for you. There's nobody checking on you. And now whatever crazy cockamamie thought that I have, I convince myself that it is true because there's nobody there. If you're going to get your whole life in your mental health, ladies, get you a support system. And listen, make sure they are safe people. There are safe people and there are unsafe people. And for different areas of your life, everybody is not a safe person, right? I can't necessarily go and cry and complain about my marriage to my single friends. They may in that moment be an unsafe person because their journey is different and they're coming from a different perspective. But that doesn't mean that if I'm just having a hard day, that my single friend can't be a safe person for me in order to help me through my day. Know who your safe people are and get you some safe people, get you a support system, and do not suffer in silence. In 2020, there's no sense in you doing this alone. We have come a long way in mental health. We have still yet to achieve. We are still working to overcome stigmas. But guess what, y'all? There is so much help out there. Listen, I'm proud of my therapist community. I am proud of my therapist friends. I'm seeing support groups. I'm seeing counseling in the park. I'm seeing webinar. There's all kinds of help being given out there, even for free. But you have to do the research and you have to tap into it. Make sure that you find help. So number one, get you a support system. Number two, find help if you need it. There's nothing wrong with talking to a therapist. I'm a therapist speaking before you today, and I'll keep saying who has a therapist. And I praise God for her because she has helped me tremendously to be able to hold some things and process some things. And then my last tip for you is it is time that we process those emotions. Ladies, we got to process those emotions. Oftentimes we'll have all these emotions and what we want to do is run away from them. Like, it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. And so we try to distract ourselves and we try to run away from it. And, you know, there's this saying that I absolutely can't stand where it says time heals all. That is not true. Time does not heal. Time simply puts space between you and the situation. And at the right moment, at the right time, with the right trigger, all of those emotions are going to come spilling up and they're going to come back on. Don't depend on time to get your healing. Depend on your work. Depend on what it is that you are doing to get your healing, because that's how healing comes. It is time to sit with those emotions. It is time to process them. It makes no sense for you to not get the help that you need and for you to do it alone. So those are my tips that I have for you. But I want to do in closing, we ran over a little bit of time, but I want to thank you, ladies. I want to thank y'all because I think that this conversation was so important and so helpful. If this was helpful for you today, please go ahead and drop it in the comments and let us know. I'm letting y'all know that there will be a part 2. There will be a part 2 to this panel discussion, but then we're also going to do our one-on-one. So thank you. But before we close out, let the people know, how can they get in touch with you? What are your socials? How can they get in touch with you so that they can work with you, so we can get our beauty, authenticity, confidence, mental health on? And NaKeara, we can start with you. How can the people reach you?
So yes, you can reach me for hair purposes, NKH Salon and Nail Spa on Facebook and Instagram. You can also reach me on my new page I'm going to share called Be Her on Purpose. And that's more of my ministry where I'm helping you really tap into your individualized beauty with beauty coaching and encouragement, empowerment, and just healing, helping you to overcome those things so you can own who you are on the outside, as well as the inside. And so I think those are my 2 handles. Yep.
All right.
And you can always friend me on Facebook too, NaKeara Bond. Yes.
Sharice, how can the people get in touch with you?
The people can get in contact with me here on Facebook, Sharice Styles, my website, wearyourconfidence.com, as well as WICuniversity.com. On social media, I am at Sharice Styles, and then the Wear Your Confidence page is Confident Crew Official. And then I also have a YouTube channel, which is WICTB1.
Miss Brittnee N. Smith.
I'm over here trying to type everybody's stuff in the chat. So you guys can follow me on Facebook at Brittnee N. Smith. That's BRITTNEE N. Smith. And then my website is BrittneeSmith.com. You can find me there. You can book a strategy session with me so I can help you sort through all the ideas you got going on so that you can be more authentic. Because that's something that comes out in my sessions too. You might be trying to do all these things over here. And I'm like, boo-boo, no, but you need to be doing this over here. So yeah, you can find me on my website or on Facebook and Instagram at Brittnee N. Smith.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And as you know, if you were joined today, you are already connected to the Oasis Counseling Center and Wellness Group page. That is my business page on Facebook. On Instagram, you can hit me up at Oasis Wellness Group. But listen, I am so excited to be able to have bring this conversation to you all tonight. I think it is important for ladies that we learn how to get our whole life. And the reality is, I could have had more topics presented. I could have had more speakers presented, because we are multidimensional. And there are so many wonderful facets to us as women. And when we truly discover all of who we are unstoppable, and we are powerhouses. And what I love about this panel tonight, the panel of sisters, I'm thinking about like the circle of sisters. I think Essence Fest does a circle of sisters, is that we truly support each other. We truly support each other, and we're pushing each other. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got something coming out. All right, how can I support? How can I be there? I could hang some flowers for you. What you want? You need me to put a streamer? You need me to just stand there and look pretty at the door? Whatever. We are here to support each other. And my heart passion is that more women would do that with each other as well. That we would come together and support each other so that we can be unstoppable in all areas of our lives. And so I hope tonight was helpful for you all. I hope this was great. Make sure you go ahead and share the stream. We are in the Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm sad about it, y'all. Like, this was a good month for me. And all the speakers and stuff, but I'm so excited. I got some new content that I'm going to be bringing to you in June. I'm going to be introducing you to the Oasis team. I have a team, y'all. I have some wonderful employees, some clinicians, Ambrielle Smith and Sylvie Saintis Osias, that are working with me. So we're going to be doing some stuff in June, but be on the lookout for Girl Get Your Whole Life Part 2.
Yes.
I'm going to call it Girl Get Your Whole Life Again. That's what I'm going to call it. Girl Get Your Whole Life Again. I keep getting it soon, and I'll let you know. You'll be hearing more about it. Stay tuned. But I want to thank you all for joining tonight. Have a wonderful night and a wonderful start to your week. A wonderful June 1st. We're going to go into this summertime in the right way. Take care. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody.
Yes.